The chapel doors exploded open with a thunderous crash, splintering the sacred hush of vows half-spoken. Randy's heart slammed against his ribs as three small boys, identical, wild-eyed triplets no older than 8, barreled down the aisle like pint-sized tornadoes, their sneakers squeaking on the polished oak floor. "Daddy!" they screamed in unison, voices cracking with a desperation that shredded the air. "Don't marry him. We're here now." Vincent froze mid-sentence, his hand trembling in Randy's, the platinum ring glinting like a cruel joke under the stained-glass light. The officiant stammered into silence, and the 200 guests, friends from the Castro bars, family who'd flown in from the Midwest, drag queens in sequined finery, gasped as one, a collective inhale that sucked the oxygen from the room. Randy's world tilted, the bouquet of white roses slipping from his fingers to scatter petals like fallen promises at their feet. San Francisco had never felt more like a stage for tragedy than it did that golden October afternoon in 2025. The wedding was meant to be the pinnacle of their decade-long love story. Randy, the broad-shouldered architect with sun-kissed skin from endless Bay Area hikes, and Vincent, the sharp-witted theater director whose laugh could light up the foggiest morning. They'd met at a Pride after-party in 2015, back when Randy was still nursing wounds from a bad breakup and Vincent was directing his first off-Broadway hit about queer outcasts finding home. One stolen glance across a crowded rooftop, one shared joint under the stars, and it was electric, two souls colliding in the city that birthed the rainbow flag. Their life together had been a whirlwind of rebuilt lofts in the Mission District, lazy Sundays at the Ferry Building Farmers Market, and whispered dreams of adoption papers signed in some sun-drenched future. Randy had proposed on the Golden Gate Bridge at sunset, down on one knee with a ring engraved "Always Ours," and Vincent had said yes with tears that tasted like salt and possibility. The ceremony was at Grace Cathedral, that Gothic beacon atop Nob Hill, where the light filtered through rose windows to paint everything in hues of redemption. Invitations had gone out with embossed maps of their favorite San Francisco haunts. The playlist mixed Judy Garland with modern indie folk. It was perfect. Until the triplets. The boys skidded to a halt at the altar, chests heaving, faces flushed pink as the Ghirardelli chocolate they clutched in sticky fists, half-eaten bars melting down their wrists. They were mirror images, tousled brown curls, freckles like constellations across button noses, hazel eyes wide with a mix of terror and triumph. The tallest one, who Randy would later learn was named Theo, clutched a crumpled envelope in his free hand, waving it like a white flag of surrender. "We found you. Mommy said you'd run away, but we tracked you down with the map." Vincent's face drained of color, his olive skin turning the shade of fog rolling in off the bay. "Boys. How?" His voice was a rasp, barely audible over the murmur rippling through the pews like a Mexican wave gone wrong. Randy's grip tightened on Vincent's hand, nails digging crescents into palm flesh, but Vincent didn't flinch. He couldn't. Because in that split second, Randy saw it, the flicker of recognition, the gut punch of buried history resurfacing like a body from the depths. "Who the hell are these kids?" Randy whispered, his voice a blade wrapped in velvet, the architect's precision turning sharp. But Vincent didn't answer. He dropped to his knees, eye level with the triplets, and pulled them into a hug that smelled of chocolate and desperation. The guests shifted uncomfortably. Aunt Marlene from Ohio clutched her pearls, while Diego, Randy's best man and a leather daddy bartender from the stud, crossed his arms with a scowl that could curdle milk. It had started as a secret, one Vincent had buried deeper than the fault lines under the city. Back in 2016, before Randy, before the courage to claim his truth. Vincent had been engaged to a woman named Elena, a sweet, ambitious grad student from his MFA program at NYU. It was the era of don't ask, don't tell echoes still lingering in his Catholic-raised bones, a time when he convinced himself love could be straitjacket into heteronormativity. They married young, in a hasty Vegas ceremony after too many shots at a cast party. Elena got pregnant almost immediately, miraculously, terrifyingly with triplets: Theo, Milo, and Finn. Vincent had held them first, tiny and squalling, and for a fleeting month, he'd played house, singing them lullabies in the dead of night. But the lie cracked open like an eggshell under pressure. Doubts clawed at him during diaper changes, whispers of who he really was echoing in the steam of midnight showers. When the boys were 3 months old, Vincent confessed to Elena over cold coffee in their cramped Brooklyn walk-up. She wept, he packed a bag, and he vanished into the theater world, changing his last name from Rossi to Hale to sever the ties. Child support wired anonymously, birthday cards and signed, ghost parenting from afar. He'd told himself it was mercy, sparing them the scandal of a gay dad in Red State, Texas, where Elena had fled to raise them with her oil rig family. But mercy? It was cowardice, plain and raw. Randy knew none of this. Their pillow talk had danced around exes. Randy's high school sweetheart who'd bailed when he came out, Vincent's vague college flings glossed over with humor. Randy had trusted that openness, built their foundation on it like one of his seismic retrofitted high-rises. Now, as the triplets clung to Vincent's neck, sobbing into his lapels, Randy felt the ground shift, a quake measuring 7.2 on the Richter of betrayal. "Vincent," Randy said, louder now, his voice carrying to the back rows where videographers fumbled with paused cameras. "Explain." "Now." Vincent pulled back, his dark eyes, usually so steady, like the lighthouses at Land's End, drowning in regret. "Randy, these are my sons. Theo, Milo, Finn. I never told you because, God, I was ashamed. I thought I could outrun it." The words landed like aftershocks. Sons? Randy's mind reeled, flashing to their talks of fostering, of building a family from scratch. All those fertility clinic brochures tucked in Vincent's nightstand drawer, lies, every glossy page. The guests were on their feet now, a sea of whispers and sympathetic glances, but Randy couldn't hear them over the roar in his ears. He wanted to bolt, to sprint down California Street until the cable cars blurred into anonymity, but his feet were rooted, tangled in rose petals and rage. Elena appeared then, materializing from the shadows of the vestibule like a specter in a sundress, blonde hair pulled into a hasty ponytail, eyes red-rimmed but fierce. She was thinner than Vincent had remembered, lines etched around her mouth from years of single-mom battles. "Vincent," she called, her Texas twang cutting through the din. "They deserve better than secrets. I tried to protect them, but they're smart. Found your wedding announcement in the Chronicle. Hitchhiked halfway across the country to stop this farce." The triplets turned to her, then back to Vincent, torn between loyalties. Little Finn, the shy one with the stuffed whale peeking from his pocket, tugged at Vincent's sleeve. "Sing it, Daddy. The song. Like when we were babies. Prove you're real." Vincent's throat bobbed, a swallow against the tide. The song. That goddamn song. Blackbird. The Beatles' Fragile Wings of Hope, twisted into a personal anthem with lyrics he'd improvised in the nursery. Blackbirds singing in the dead of night, Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Daddy's here. My little stars will touch the sky. He'd crooned it through colic cries, a secret sacrament only they shared. No one else knew the altered verses, the way he'd harmonized the boys' names into the chorus. Randy watched, chest hollowing out, as Vincent hesitated. The officiant cleared his throat awkwardly. Perhaps. A recess? 10 minutes. But recess was for schoolyards, not shattered altars. Vincent stood, scooping the boys into his arms, 3 featherweights against his frame, and faced Randy. I love you, he said, voice breaking like waves on Baker Beach. But I love them too. I can't lose either. The triplets, sensing the precipice, began to hum. Soft at first, then bolder, Blackbird Fly. Theo's pitch-perfect treble led, Milo and Finn chiming in, their small voices weaving through the chapel like sunlight piercing clouds. Guests fell silent, transfixed. Elena nodded from the aisle, tears carving tracks down her cheeks. Vincent joined them, his baritone rumbling low, the secret melody unfolding like a confession. And Randy? He stood there, the ring heavy on his finger, listening to the man he loved unravel his past in song. The hum swelled into full harmony, the triplets' voices rising like fog lifting from the Presidio, carrying the chapel into a suspended breath. Vincent's eyes locked on Randy's, pleading through the lyrics, all your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise, and for the first time, Randy saw not just the director's charisma, but the father's ache, raw and unscripted. The guests, those unwitting extras in this improv drama, began to sway old Mrs. Patel from the corner bodega dabbed her eyes with a lace hanky, while Jake, Vincent's stage manager and perpetual +1, mouthed the words he'd never known existed. Randy's knees buckled, but he caught himself on the altar rail, the cool iron biting into his palms. Betrayal tasted metallic, like blood from a bitten tongue, but beneath it churned something fiercer. Curiosity, damn it. Who was this Vincent? The one who'd fathered miracles and fled them? The song crested, the boys' faces alight with the thrill of reunion, and as the final Blackbird Fly faded, applause erupted, tentative at first, then thunderous, as if clapping could mend the fracture. Elena pushed forward, her sundress whispering against the pews. I'm sorry, she said to Randy, extending a hand that trembled slightly. Close, she was all sharp angles and quiet strength, the kind forged in ER shifts and PDA battles. I didn't come to ruin this. The boys. They saw the paper, your faces smiling back at them. That's Daddy, Theo said. And that was it. Greyhound buses, peanut butter sandwiches, and a whole lot of stubborn. I couldn't stop him. Randy shook her hand, clammy, real, and nodded numbly. Sons, he repeated, the word foreign on his tongue. He'd imagined fatherhood as abstract sketches. Bedtime stories in a loft with skyline views, soccer games on the Embarcadero. Not this, an ambush of DNA and destiny crashing there forever. Vincent set the boys down gently, crouching to their level. How did you find me? Really? The map? Did Grandpa help? Theo puffed his chest, envelope thrust forward. Grandpa said no, but we used the internet, your theater shows on YouTube. And this, he unfolded the paper, a yellowed birth certificate, smudged but legible, listing Vincent Hale ne Rossi as father. Mommy keeps it in her drawer. We weren't supposed to know. Milo, ever the peacemaker, piped up, We brought chocolate. Peace offering. He held out a mangled bar, wrapper crinkled like his brow. Finn just stared at Randy, whale clutched tight. Are you the new daddy? Do you sing too? The questions pierced Randy like San Francisco's infamous winds. Chilly, insistent, stripping away defenses. He knelt, level with those hazel eyes that mirrored Vincent's so perfectly it hurt. I don't know the song yet, but I'd like to learn. The officiant, a silver-haired lesbian named Reverend Lee, who'd officiated half the queer weddings in the Bay, stepped forward with the grace of someone used to curveballs. Folks, this is unconventional, but love rarely follows a script. Shall we incorporate family vow? Perhaps. Murmurs of agreement rippled out, the crowd's empathy a balm on the wound. Diego clapped Randy on the back. Hard, grounding. Breathe, hermano. This is your plot twist. But plot twists in real life didn't come with rewrites. As the group huddled, Vincent, Elena, the boys, Randy, a side door creaked open, admitting a harried woman in a pantsuit. CPS, called by a well-meaning usher who'd mistaken chaos for crisis. Mr. Hale, ma'am, we need to talk protocol. Interstate custody issues. Elena bristled. They're safe with their father. That's the point. Vincent's jaw set, the director in him rallying. Reverend, can we pause? Clear the room for a family meeting. The chapel emptied in waves. Guests spilling onto Sacramento Street with champagne flutes in hand, buzzing like bees from a disturbed hive. Randy found himself in the vestry, a cramped space smelling of incense and old hymnals, the five of them plus the social worker squeezed around a scarred oak table. The triplets fidgeted, drawing on napkins with pilfered pens, while Elena laid out the facts like a deposition. I raised them alone after you left, she said, voice steady but edged with steel. Your checks helped, thank you for that much, but they asked about you. Where's Daddy? Stories of a traveling actor who sent postcards from faraway places. Texas wasn't kind to single moms. Vincent. Oil busts, Bible thumpers whispering about my sinful divorce. But we made it. Until the boys got curious. Vincent nodded, guilt etching deeper lines around his eyes. I followed from afar. School photos in envelopes. No return address. I thought distance was protection. Protection from what? Randy interjected, his architect's mind demanding blueprints, not shadows. From us? From this. He gestured vaguely at the ring box on the table, vows crumpled beside it. From hurting you, Vincent admitted, reaching across to squeeze Randy's knee. I came out to Elena, but not the world. Not ready. Thought if I started fresh here, with you, I could be the man I always wanted. Childless, uncomplicated, the social worker, Ms. Torres, a no-nonsense Latina with a clipboard, interjected, legally, Mr. Hale, you're on the birth certificates. Paternity's established. But reintroducing after 8 years? That's a process. Supervised visits. Counseling. These kids have stability in Austin school. Friends. Theo's head snapped up. No, we want both daddies. And mommy too. The room stilled. Elena's laugh was bittersweet, like sourdough starter. Kiddo, life's not a Brady Bunch reboot. But it could be, Finn whispered, his wail nodding agreement. Randy's pulse thrummed, a bass line to the chaos. He thought of his own fractured family. Dad lost to cancer when he was 12, Mom remarried to a stiff accountant in Sacramento who tolerated but never embraced his gay son. Stability? It was a myth, a load-bearing wall that crumbled under truth's weight. "What if we try?" he said, surprising himself. "All of us, co-parenting across coasts. Vincent and I, we build things. Bridges." Vincent's gaze softened, hope flickering like cable car lights at dusk. "Randy, you don't have to." "I do," Randy cut in, fierce now. "Because I love you. The whole mess of you. But no more secrets. We redesigned this life together." MS. Torres tapped her pen. "Optimistic. I'll fast-track evaluations. For now, let's get these boys fed." There's a dim-sum spot on Grant Avenue neutral ground. As they filed out, the triplets trailing like ducklings, Randy caught Elena's eye. "Why now? Really?" She paused in the doorway, sunset gilding her silhouette. "Because love isn't a solo act. And neither are they." The dim-sum parlor was a riot of steam and clatter, bamboo baskets veiling conversations in Cantonese and laughter. The boys devoured har gow and siu mai with the gusto of adventurers refueling, chopsticks flying as they bombarded Vincent with questions. "Did you direct Lions in Africa? What's the biggest stage?" Randy watched, a reluctant audience, as Vincent spun tales embellished, of course, but laced with truth. Elena picked at pot stickers, her guard lowering with each shared glance. By the time they tumbled back to the cathedral, dusk had painted the city in purples and golds, the bay a mirror of twinkling lights. Guests lingered on the lawn, picnic style with catered leftovers, turning crisis into impromptu reception. Drag queen cousin Trixie belted at last from a portable amp, her wig a beacon in the twilight. Reverend Lee reconvened them at the altar, now strewn with extra chairs dragged from the undercroft. "Vows anew?" she asked, eyebrow arched. Vincent took Randy's hands, the triplets flanking them like tiny groomsmen, Elena in the front row with a borrowed veil of tissue. "Randy Ellis," Vincent began, voice steady as the Pacific. "You saw my shadows and stayed. With you, I want to step into the light for us, for them." Randy swallowed hard, the words rising unbidden. "Vincent Hale, you built walls I never knew existed. But I'll help you tear them down. For the family we choose." The triplets cheered as rings slid home, sealing not just a marriage, but a mosaic. But as confetti rained, biodegradable rainbow shreds, Randy's joy tangled with unease. Elena's eyes held a shadow, unspoken clause in this new contract. That night, in their Hayes Valley Airbnb, the loft sublet for the wedding week, Randy and Vincent collapsed onto silk sheets. The boys bunked in the living room with Elena on the pullout. "Thank you," Vincent murmured, tracing Randy's jaw. "For not running." Randy pulled him close, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces weathered by time. "We're in the earthquake zone, babe. Running's not an option." But as Vincent drifted to sleep, Randy stared at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying Elena's hesitation. Secrets had a way of multiplying, like cracks in unreinforced concrete. And in the city of reinvention, some foundations hid sinkholes. Dawn broke over the Marin headlands like a hesitant apology, mist clinging to redwoods as Randy laced up his trail runners for a solo hike. Vincent was still out cold, one arm thrown across the empty side of the bed, the triplets' snores a faint chorus from down the hall. Elena had risen early, brewing coffee strong enough to strip varnish. Her texts already pinging. "Flight back to Austin tomorrow. Boys need routine." Randy needed air, space to process the aftershocks of yesterday's quake. The coastal trail wound like a vein through the park. Eucalyptus scent sharp in his nostrils, waves crashing below in a rhythm that mocked his turmoil. Architect by trade, Randy saw structures everywhere, suspension bridges of trust strained to snapping, load-bearing beams of honesty splintered. Vincent's past wasn't just a footnote. It was a whole goddamn annex, 3 stories high with curly-headed blueprints. He paused at a overlook, the Golden Gate a distant rust-orange scar against the sea. Daddy's here, my little stars. The song haunted him, its melody twisting like wind through the Presidio's cypress groves. Jealousy gnawed, not of Elena, but of that version of Vincent, the one who'd held newborns and whispered futures he later abandoned. Randy had given everything, his designs redrawn around their shared dreams, vacations rerouted for Vincent's festival gigs. And now, a ready-made family, dropped like a plot device from a bad indie film. His phone buzzed. Diego. Brunch at Tartine? Boys causing chaos? Bill. Randy typed back. Later. Processing. He pocketed it, resuming the path, boots crunching gravel. By the time he crested the ridge, sweat slicked and spent, clarity edged in, betrayal wasn't the end. It was the demolition phase. To rebuild stronger. Back at the Airbnb, the scene was domestic pandemonium. The triplets had commandeered the kitchen, flour-dusted faces smeared with pancake batter. Vincent flipping flapjacks in boxers and an apron that read "Kiss the Cook." Elena leaned against the counter, nursing a mug, her smile weary but genuine. Morning, hero. Coffee? Randy accepted the mug, brushing a kiss to Vincent's flowery cheek. Smells like a bakery exploded. Theo brandished a spatula like Excalibur. We made heart shapes for the wedding redo. Milo nodded solemnly. With extra syrup for love. Finn, ever observant, tilted his head. You look sad, Uncle Randy. Is it 'cause we crashed? The question disarmed him. Small fist to the gut. Randy ruffled Finn's curls. Nah, kiddo. Just figuring out the new floor plan. More rooms now. Breakfast stretched into a sticky symphony of stories. Elena recounting the boys' first steps in a dusty Austin trailer. Vincent confessing the anonymous Christmas gifts. A train set 1 year. Science kits the next. Randy shared his own scars. The dad who'd taught him to hammer nails before chemo stole his strength. Family's not blood, he said, syrup pooling on his plate. It's the nails you drive, the ones that hold when the storms hit. Elena met his eyes over the boys' heads. Poetic. But storms do hit. Vincent. He wasn't always a ghost. There were calls, late nights when he'd drive from New York just to watch them sleep from the park bench. Vincent's fork paused midair. You knew, she shrugged. A mother's radar. But knowing and forgiving, that's the rebuild. The morning devolved into play, a ragtag game of tag through Golden Gate Park. The triplets shrieking as Vincent hoisted them onto his shoulders. Randy and Elena trailing with ice cream cones from the bison paddock. For stolen hours, it felt possible, this patchwork quilt of a life, stitched with threads of forgiveness. But as the sun arced high, shadows lengthened. Ms. Torres arrived at noon, clipboard in tow, turning the living room into an impromptu conference. Paternity confirmation's priority. DNA swab for peace of mind, though docs are solid. Custody? Joint, but with Elena as primary until mediation. You 2-inch, she nodded at Randy and Vincent. Counseling mandatory. Family systems therapy. San Francisco has great queer-affirming spots. Vincent signed forms with a flourish, but his free hand found Randy's under the table, squeezing. The boys submitted to cheek swabs with the drama of medieval bloodletting, Theo declaring it wizard spit magic. Elena gathered their duffels by the door. Flights at 4. Greyhound was one-way adventure. This is the return. The goodbye was a gut wrench. Hugs that lingered, promises of FaceTime bedtimes, the triplets' backpacks bulging with San Francisco souvenirs, cable car models, sourdough starter. Finn slipped Randy a drawing, 2 stick figures with 3 smaller ones, labeled Our House. As the cab pulled away, Vincent sagged against the doorframe. I don't deserve this second act. Randy pulled him inside, sealing the door on the empty street. Deserves got nothing to do with it. We're directing now. Together. That afternoon bled into evening plans. A delayed honeymoon/family summit. Vincent booked flights to Austin economy, all 5 of them crammed in coach like sardines in a rainbow can. Randy sketched itineraries on his iPad, mediation lawyers, school tours, a backyard barbecue to meet Elena's folks. Practicality as armor. But nightfall brought the fracture's first real fissure. Curled on the couch with takeout pad thai, Vincent's phone lit up, an unknown Texas number. He answered, face paling. Elena? What's wrong? Randy strained to hear. Chopsticks forgotten. Fragments. Not alone. Need to tell you. Before the boys. Vincent hung up, world-weary. She's at the airport. Says there's more. Something from back then. Randy's stomach nodded. More secrets. Not mine. Ours. Vincent rubbed his temples. She waited to say it face to face. But the flight delay. God. Randy. What if it's bad? They drove to SFO in tense silence. The airport's fluorescent buzz a migraine in light form. Elena waited at baggage claim, face ashen, a manila envelope clutched like a grenade. Tall, weathered Texan in a Stetson, her brother? No. The envelope revealed photos. Vincent and Elena, younger, laughing at a rodeo, then ultrasound prints, dated pre-wedding. I lied too, she confessed, voice a whisper amid suitcase wheels rumbling. It wasn't just curiosity that brought us here. The boys. They're sick. Rare genetic thing, cystic fibrosis markers showed up last year. Doctors say early intervention, but treatments cost a fortune. I thought, if Vincent stepped up, support, maybe insurance through your union. Vincent recoiled as if slapped. You used them? Our wedding as leverage? No! Tears welled. I prayed it wouldn't come to this. But pride's expensive. Vincent. And love? It demands everything. Randy's vision tunneled. Betrayal doubling down. Not just Vincent's ghosting, but Elena's gambit. A co-conspiracy of omissions. The triplets. Innocent pawns in adult chess. You both played God with their lives, he said, voice ice over fire. And now, what? We foot the bill for your regrets. Elena flinched. It's not about money. It's about family. The boys need their dad. All of him. Vincent paced the terminal, a caged lion in loafers. I'll pay. Tests, meds, whatever. But trust? That's shattered glass. Elena. Sharp edges all around. She nodded, defeated. Flights boarding. Tell them. Daddy loves them. And Randy, thank you. For seeing past the mess. As she vanished into security, envelope left on a bench like discarded script pages. Randy and Vincent drove home through fog-shrouded streets. Silence thickened, broken only by radio static. Finally, Vincent, I'm sorry. Again. This is my fault. Randy gripped the wheel tighter. Ours now. But if we salvage this, no more half-truths. Full disclosure, or we fold the tent. Vincent's hand covered his. Full house. I swear. Sleep evaded them that night. Bodies tangled but minds adrift. Randy dreamed of bridges buckling. Songs silenced mid-note. Morning brought resolve. Calls to specialists. Fundraisers sketched in Vincent's theater circles. But the betrayal lingered, a fault line waiting to rupture. Weeks blurred into a cross-country blur. Austin greeted them with humidity and hospitality. Elena's modest ranch house on the outskirts, barbecue smoke curling from the pit. The triplets tackled Vincent at the door, a whirlwind of limbs and laughter, oblivious to the undercurrents. Randy hung back, appraising, peeling paint on the siding, a Reno project, overgrown yard, landscaping consult. Elena's folks were wary, salt-of-the-earth types, church on Sundays, oil patches on weekdays, but the boys' joy thawed them. Heard you build fancy houses, her dad grunted over ribs. This one's needin' some love. Randy nodded, sketching mental elevations. Happy to help. Evenings were therapy sessions in disguise. Family counseling in a strip mall office, where a soft-spoken shrink named Dr. Patel unpacked the baggage. Vincent owned his flight, Elena her desperation, Randy his resentment, voiced in measured tones. The triplets drew pictures, happy families with extra arms for hugging. One night, post-session, they gathered on the porch swing, fireflies winking like stage lights. Theo asked, "Will you stay forever?" Randy dad. The title landed soft, a beam slotting into place. As long as your other dad lets me. Vincent chuckled, arm around Randy's waist. Permanent resident. But as stars pricked the velvet sky, Elena pulled Randy aside. One more thing. The gene thing, it's recessive. Vincent carries it, unknowingly past. But you're clear. Tested last week. Randy exhaled, relief laced with complication. So the boys, ours to fight. Together, the word anchored him. Together. Yet betrayal's echo persisted, a low hum beneath the harmony. The Austin skyline shimmered like a mirage under relentless sun, a far cry from San Francisco's layered fog and hidden alleys. Randy adapted quickly, swapping lattes for iced tea, blueprints for blueprints still, but now etched with Texas twang. A ramp for Grandpa's wheelchair, a sunroom addition to flood Elena's living room with light for the boys' nebulizer sessions. Vincent dove into fatherhood with theatrical zeal, directing school plays at the local Y, his baritone booming blackbird at tuck-ins. The triplets bloomed under it, their coughs less frequent with new meds funded by a GoFundMe. Vincent's castmates amplified into viral gold. Randy watched it unfold from the sidelines at first, a consultant in his own marriage. Nights, he'd retreat to the guest room, Elena's old craft space, now a makeshift office, poring over contractor bids while Vincent crashed with the boys, lullabies drifting through thin walls. Resentment simmered, not boiling but bubbling. This is his redemption arc. Where's mine? It crested one sweltering July evening, the air thick as molasses, cicadas droning a dirge. They'd driven back from a Rangers game, Randy's olive branch, box seats courtesy of Elena's brother. The boys zonked out in the truck bed, Vincent humming stadium anthems. Home was a cul-de-sac oasis. String lights twinkling, Elena grilling corn on the half-acre lot Randy had terraced into play zones. Dinner was easy chatter, Finn's home run prediction, Milo's fascination with Randy's laser level. But as plates cleared, Elena's phone rang. Hospital. Theo's latest checkup. Inflammation up, steroids prescribed. Vincent paled, scooping the boy for an impromptu chest rub with albuterol mist. The others pitched in, Elena charting vitals, Milo fetching juice, Finn coloring to distract. Randy stood frozen in the kitchen, dish sponge limp in his fist. This is routine. Their routine. The weight pressed. Not just kids, but crisis. A chronic script with no intermission. He slipped out to the porch, cracking a Shiner Bock, the beer's bitterness mirroring his mood. Vincent found him there, moonlight silvering his curls. Hey, you okay? Randy's laugh was hollow, echoing off the mesquite trees. Define okay. I'm the step whatever in a medical drama, building forts while you play White Knight. Vincent sank beside him, swing creaking protest. It's not a competition. You're the one holding the hammer, literally. This house? It's you. But is it us? Randy set the bottle down. Hard. You dropped a bomb at our wedding. Then. Sons. Illness. And Elena's angle, using the announcement, that stings fresh every time Theo wheezes. Vincent winced, rubbing his neck. I know. Therapy's unpacking it. My abandonment issues, her survival mode. But we're here. Building. Am I? Randy's voice cracked. Feels like I'm the contractor, not the homeowner. You and the boys. That song. Those eyes. It's primal. I love you, but this, it's borrowed family. The admission hung, heavy as humidity. Vincent pulled him close, breath warm against his temple. You're not borrowed. You're the foundation. Without you, I'd still be scripting solos. Remember our first hike? Point Reyes, that cliffside kiss? You said, we're seismic together. This is the shake. We reinforce. Randy leaned in, the fight ebbing like tide. Then prove it. Date night. Just us. No scripts. No sets. Vincent grinned, mischief sparking. Deal. Barton Springs. Midnight dip. Like locals do. The spring was a sapphire vein through Zilker Park, fed by underground aquifers, cool as redemption. They snuck in after dark, stripping to boxers under a canopy of live oaks. The cities hummed distant. Water enveloped them, shockingly cold, washing away the day's grit. Vincent treaded beside him, moonlight dappling his chest. Miss this. Us. Randy splashed him, playful. Miss not being on call for puke or prescriptions. Laughter bubbled up, then faded to floats on their backs, stars wheeling overhead. I was scared, Vincent confessed, of losing you to the truth. But you stayed. Why? Because love's not a blueprint, Randy said. It's the live load, the unexpected weight you designed for. They kissed then, slow and deep, water lapping secrets. Back on the bank, towels shared. Vincent whispered altered lyrics. Blackbird singing for Randy too. Learn to fly with me and you. It was a bridge, tentative but spanning. Months deepened the roots. Fall brought mediation hearings in a stark Travis County courthouse, where lawyers bartered like bazaar merchants. Joint custody summers in SF. Holidays split like pie. Elena's folks softened over Randy's chilly cook-off win, dubbing him that Yankee with spice. The triplets enrolled in online coding classes Randy tutored, their screens glowing with algorithms as neat as his CAD files. But betrayal's ghost lingered in quieter moments. One crisp November dawn, echoing their wedding date, Randy woke to Vincent's side empty. Coffee brewed. He found him on the deck, phone to ear, voice low. Elena, no. We can't uproot them again. The treatments are working here. Randy froze in the doorway, eavesdropping like a bad habit. But the donor match? Elena's tinny plea. It's you, Vincent. For Theo's transplant list. Vincent's head bowed. I'm in. Whatever it takes. The call ended. Randy stepped out, feigning casual. Early riser? Vincent startled, pocketing the phone. Yeah. Boys' schedules. The lie small, but seismic cracked the fresh mortar. Randy nodded, swallowing questions, but doubt seeded. Winter solstice brought the climax, unannounced as a nor'easter. They were in San Francisco for the holidays, the loft strung with lights, a menorah beside the Christmas tree in nod to Elena's blended roots. The triplets arrived via red-eye, Elena in tow, suitcases stuffed with pecan pies and cough suppressants. Festivities kicked off, tree trimming to Sufjan Stevens, gingerbread structurally engineered by Randy. But Boxing Day, the call came, Theo, fever spiking, rushed to UCSF Med. Vincent bolted, Randy driving through holiday traffic snarl, Elena and the boys trailing in an Uber. The ER was a fluorescent purgatory, beeps, bleach, parents in various stages of unravel. Theo lay small in the bed, for dripping antibiotics. His brothers curled at his feet like guardian sphinxes. Dr. Gwyn, a brisk Filipina with kind eyes, pulled Vincent aside. Infection secondary to flare. Stable now, but the gene therapy trial, it's promising. Needs paternal stem cells. You're a match. Vincent nodded, rolling up his sleeve for the draw. Schedule it. Randy paced the hall, Elena joining him with vending machine coffee. He's all in, she said softly. Yeah. Randy's jaw tightened. But earlier, on the phone, you asked him to move back to Austin for the boys, she sighed, stirring sugar endlessly. Desperation. The trial's better there, top specialists. But I saw how he looks at you. Like you're the horizon. Flattery won't fix this. Randy's voice rose, drawing stares. You two, conspiring again? Wedding leverage was one thing. Now poaching my husband. Elena's eyes flashed. Poaching? This is survival. Randy. For Theo. Vincent's blood. It's the key. And mine. He jabbed a thumb at his chest. I'm the outsider, wiring checks and wiping brows. But when it counts, family blood trumps all. She reached for his arm. You're family now. Messy. Chosen. But if you doubt that, Vincent emerged then, bandaged arm in towel sling, face drawn. It's done. Cells harvested. Now we wait. The wait stretched, days in a Ronald McDonald suite, nights of whispered blackbird variations, the triplets harmonizing through tears. Milo confessed fears of losing his brother. Finn drew donor superheroes. Elena and Randy forged an uneasy truce over jigsaw puzzles, pieces clicking like reluctant allies. Climax hit on New Year's Eve. Monitors shrieking as Theo coded sepsis from the draw site. Chaos. Carts crashing. Vincent restrained in the hall, screaming, "Let me in." Randy held him back, muscles straining, Elena herding the boys to the chapel. "He's strong," Randy murmured, Vincent's sobs soaking his shirt. "Like his dad." Hours later, stabilization. Theo pinked up, eyes fluttering open to 5 faces haloed in fluorescent. "Did I miss fireworks?" Laughter broke, cathartic. But in the quiet aftermath, Randy confronted Vincent in the parking garage, city lights fracturing on rain-slicked asphalt. "You almost left. For them." "I heard Elena." Vincent deflated against the truck. "I considered it. For Theo. But you're my North Star." "I stayed." "Stayed." Randy's laugh was sharp. "Or settled. Be honest. Am I plan B? The safe harbor after the storm?" "No." Vincent cupped his face. Fierce. "You're the storm I choose. Every day." The kiss was desperate, tasting of salt and second chances. Betrayal's blade dulled, not sheathed. Spring thawed the fractures. The transplant took, Theo's counts climbing, a miracle in petri dishes. Back in Austin for follow-ups, Randy broke ground on the house expansion. A sick bay suite with hospital-grade air filters, playroom doubling as therapy space. Vincent directed a community production of Angels in America. The boys in bit parts. Randy set designer. Elena dated, a quiet accountant with a weakness for her brisket, easing the co-parent load. Randy and Vincent renewed vows in a backyard ceremony. Triplets ring bearers. Elena matron of honor. No interruptions. Just I do's sealed with a song, The Full Blackbird. Verses woven with all their names. Summer 2026 arrived on thermals of possibility. The Austin air humming with cicada choirs and the scent of crepe myrtle blooms. The expanded house stood proud now, a rambling ranch with solar panels glinting like optimism. Randy's signature. Clean lines softened by wildflower borders Elena had planted. Theo's room overlooked a koi pond Randy had engineered, fish darting like living metaphors for resilience. The boys' latest scan? Clear skies. No storm clouds on the horizon. Randy thrived in the redesign. His firm greenlighting a satellite office in Austin, hybrid life. Quarterly flights to SF for client pitches. Vincent straddled worlds too. Guest directing at the Zach Theater. Zoom rehearsals with his Bay Area troupe. The triplets split time seamlessly. Summers in the Castro, chasing cable cars and drag brunches, school years in Texas, rodeos and ranch visits. Elena's romance blossomed, her accountant proposing over a sunset picnic, the boys dubbing him Uncle Steve with gleeful mischief. Yet the humanistic core pulsed in the mundane. Tuesday night tacos, where Vincent's secret sauce recipe, sworn from his nana, sparked debates. Saturday hikes in the hill country, backpacks heavy with trail mix and Theo's portable nebulizer, now more precaution than necessity. Randy taught them sketching, simple elevations of their dreams. A treehouse stage for Milo's puppet shows, a library nook for Finn's whale tales. Vincent countered with improv games, turning grocery runs into whose line skits that left clerks in stitches. Betrayal scar faded to silver, a reminder etched in anniversary tattoos. Seismic waves intertwined on inner wrists. Therapy continued, monthly check-ins with Dr. Patel, unpacking not just the wedding wreckage but deeper strata. Vincent's internalized shame from altar boy days, Randy's fear of impermanence rooted in his dad's early grave. Elena joined sometimes, her candor a whetstone. We all ran once. Now we root. The pinnacle came unbidden. A fall festival in the town square, booths hawking funnel cakes and face paint, a bandstand belting Willie Nelson covers. The family wandered arm in arm. A tableau of chosen kin, Vincent and Randy in matching flannel, ironic nod to their urban roots. Elena and Steve sharing cotton candy, the triplets streaked with pumpkin orange war paint. Theo spotted the karaoke setup first, dragging them on stage with the ferocity of a director's cue. "Dad, Randy Dad, sing it," he crowed, mic in fist. Vincent hesitated. Crowd gathering, locals who'd warmed to the fancy city folks with the miracle kid. Randy nudged him. "Your solo." "Or ours." The opening chords of Blackbird strummed out, tinny but true. Vincent started low, the triplets chiming in, Theo's treble bold, Milo's sweet, Finn's shy harmony. Randy joined on the bridge, his baritone rough but earnest. Lyrics learned by heart over nebulizer nights. "Take these broken wings." "Daddy's here." Elena's strong. Randy builds the sky. Elena swayed below, Steve's arm around her, tears unashamed. The crowd hushed, then swelled in applause, strangers clapping for a story they'd pieced from whispers. The interrupted wedding, the sick boy, the dads who stayed. Offstage, amid hay bales and hayride lines, Vincent pulled Randy into the shadows of a cornstalk maze. "That song. It was only for them once. Now it's ours," Randy murmured, forehead to forehead. "All of us." The kiss was soft, unhurried, fireflies winking approval. No cameras, no scripts, just presence, the quiet triumph of endurance. Years folded forward like well-worn sheet music. The triplets hit teens, Theo a budding activist, protesting pipelines with Vincent's fire, Milo coding apps for CF research, Randy's logic in his loops, Finn penning stories of ocean voyages, Elena's wanderlust in his prose. College scattered them, Theo to UT Austin Theater, Milo to Stanford Engineering, Finn to NYU Marine Bio. But holidays reconvened the clan. Thanksgiving in SF with drag queen toasts, Christmas in Austin with Steve's fruitcake disasters. Randy and Vincent aged into silver foxes, their loft a gallery of framed chaos. Wedding crash photos, triplets mid-hug, transplant victory ultrasounds, a playbill from the boys' first joint production. Randy's firm boomed, sustainable designs earning TEDx nods. Vincent's off-Broadway revival of Torch Song trilogy snagged Tonys, dedicated to the family that scripted my heart. Elena's wedding to Steve was a hill country hoedown. Randy walking her down the aisle, "Yankee honor," she joked. Vincent DJing with a playlist of queer anthems and Texas twang. The triplets, now lanky teens in Be on the Lookout ties, serenaded with Blackbird, voices deepened but unchanged in tenderness. Betrayal, prologue, faded ink on yellowed pages. In its place, a narrative of grace, the humanistic truth that love isn't absence of fracture, but the art of mending. Flaws become features, cracks where light seeps in, songs born from silence. On their 10th anniversary, delayed by life, but no less luminous, they gathered at Grace Cathedral, full circle. No triplets to interrupt. Instead, they stood as ushers, smirking at the memory. Vows renewed under rose windows, Reverend Lee presiding. From interruption to harmony, you've composed a life. As rings exchanged, the boys launched into the song from the choir loft. A cappella surprise, Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Guests joined, a swell of voices, Randy and Vincent swaying center aisle, hands clasped. Outside, Nob Hill fog rolled gentle, the city a canvas of reinvention. Randy leaned into Vincent, breath mingling. Worth the quake, every tremor, Vincent replied. Leads here, and in the hush of vespers, with family fanning out into the dusk, Elena's laughter trailing, boys plotting next adventures, they walked hand in hand. Not perfect, not unbroken, but whole. Human. Home.